On July 6th, the Diablo4 dev team is going to have a live stream. Apparently, they're going to communicate when season 1 is actually going to go live, and I guess what it's going to entail. We'll know more, obviously, once the live stream happens on July 6th. But the point of this video is around that topic, since the live stream is literally 4 days, 5 days away from now, from today, as of the recording of this video. I wanted to actually discuss the topic of season 1 and how people feel on the importance of season 1, whether it's a make it or break it time for the long-term viability of Diablo 4. I've given this some huge consideration. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I recently finished my first main character, excuse me, and I reached level 100 just a couple of days ago on my rogue, as you can see here. And it made me think, okay, I finished the game, and I have thoughts on the whole grind to 100, and that's going to be in another video. But I really wanted to talk about whether or not season 1 is going to be critical for the long-term viability of Diablo 4. Now, let me first say I thoroughly enjoyed playing Diablo 4 for basically a month now, and I have to say it didn't come without some issues, and these are the issues that everyone's talking about. Obviously, the lack of endgame content is very noticeable, and prior to the patch coming out, the recent patch, and the the buff on the XP that you gain on Nightmare Dungeons, which literally the patch gave Nightmare Dungeons an 80% boost to XP, which was long overdue, and I'm glad they did it. Also, they improved the travel to and from the Nightmare Dungeons, where you basically now can travel directly in front of the Nightmare Dungeon and go straight in, which is another great improvement and much needed step to advance this game to where it needs to be. And of course, they made a ton of other changes, and basically they buffed every single class. So I'm sure everyone's happy with the recent patch notes. That's great. However, I do want to preface that by saying the following. This game still needs a lot of improvements. Now, I'm a glasses half full type of person, and I personally want to see this game succeed. I've enjoyed it. I think it's a great game. I think the foundation is there. I think Blizzard has done a great job encompassing a lot of great attributes in this game. So I want to see it succeed long term. However, there are many things that need to be improved. Now, why do I feel that season 1 is critical to the long-term viability of this game? It's because we've already seen a drop-off in the player base. A lot of players, prior to the patch coming out, felt that it was just pointless in grinding to 100. It was going to take too much time. A lot of players did not want to do the same content over and over, and hence there was a drop-off. And then there was also players who play this game a lot, reached level 100, and there was nothing left for them to do. So the combination of the two has caused a drop-off in the player base, naturally. Now, we've probably have seen some increase in coming back since the patch, because now it is much easier to level to 100 than it was prior to the patch. So I'm sure there was a little bit of a bump. And I don't want to get into the statistics as far as, the number of live streams, the viewership, it's gone down. There's no doubt about it. I'm not going to share it with you guys. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is around the topic: is Season 1 going to determine the long-term viability of Diablo 4? Now, my opinion, yes, it will. There's two paths Blizzard is going to take. Path number one is maintain the status quo, hope that when they launch Season 1, with the current attributes that they have in it, and that is they have, the season pass, they have the chapter rewards, and that inherently is going to provide us with attributes in the gameplay that we don't have on the Eternal Realm. And so they're hoping and praying that that alone will satisfy the player base. Okay, now let's remember the player base is already disappointed for the most part that they have to create a new character in season. So remember, a lot of the player base is going into Season 1 with that feeling. So Blizzard, in my opinion, is taking two paths. The first path is status quo with the natural enhancements from a seasonal play. So, like I said, the chapter rewards, the battle pass, they're going to hope that will maintain the player base playing this game. Road number two is Blizzard takes the approach of addressing a good bulk of the issues that currently exist in the game. And to me, the two that stick out the most is increasing the end game content and adding and enhancing some of the quality of life problems that we have currently in the game. Now, I'm not saying they have to blow us away with end game content and give us, another map and 700 bosses and all that kind of stuff. But there needs to be a sign of growth in those two issues. More end-game content, improvements in quality of life in the game. I feel if Blizzard takes that approach number two, where maybe you add another boss, you add another level, whatever, and you fix some of the quality of life issues that really basically even just, and we know the gems going automatically into the materials area without going into our inventory is not happening till Season 2, but even things like giving us an additional storage chest, maybe an improvement to the loot system. I personally would love to see a loot system similar to some other games, and I won't name them just out of respect for Blizzard, but I would love to preview what's dropped on the floor as far as what it is, the item power, and what the mods and attributes are on that weapon or gear, so I can choose whether or not to pick it up or not. So a couple of items on the quality of life and a couple of things on improving the end game content. Maybe the grind to 100 instead of just having the level checks between World Tier 1 and World Tier 2 and World Tier 2 and World Tier 3 and World Tier 3 and World Tier 4. Maybe adding more power checks and leveling checks throughout that process. Maybe adding a boss, an additional boss in those. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not a developer. They're better equipped to do that. But my point is, you can't expect the players who literally have grinded for hours and hours and hours. And I myself am currently in that position. I just hit 100. and I dedicated a lot of time to that. Now I don't have the luxury like some of the players that can spend 10, 11, 8, 7, 6 hours a day on playing this game. And I'm sure they got to 100 much quicker. I don't have that kind of time. And let's remember, Blizzard has already stated on day 10 after launching this game that a good part of the player base had not finished a campaign 10 days in to the game. So I would argue to you that the majority of the player base that's playing Diablo 4 is in the 25 to 45 age range, and they have 1, 2, 3 hours a day every other day to play this game. So a lot of them still have not hit 100. Season 1, we're going to know on Thursday when it's going to launch. They've told us it's middle of July to end of July. Now, hopefully they give us a concrete date this Thursday. But let's think about this, okay? The majority of the player base right now, as the date of this video recording, are still grinding to 100, or they've left because they're like, this isn't for me. It's too much. There's not enough endgame content, and the quality of life issues are just burning me alive. So this is the majority of the player base going into season 1. And now remember, season 1, the devs have confirmed we're all going to have to start a new character. They're going to have to relive that all over. Do you honestly feel, with what I just said, all the players going into season 1 that are going to try season 1, with already this filter in the back of their mind on what they've already experienced, and if Blizzard chooses Road 1, where they're just going to go with the status quo and hope that the battle pass and the chapter rewards is going to be enough to get the players back, do you really think that's going to mean success for the long-term viability of Diablo 4? I would argue not. I really do believe that season 1 is critical for Diablo 4's long-term success. I really do. And I don't feel that it's going to take a lot of enhancements to keep the player base satisfied. I think with a little bit of fine-tuning and enhancements with the endgame content and the quality of life, I truly do believe it will be a good gesture from Blizzard to the player base to show them that, hey, we're serious, we're listening to you guys, and we're doing these enhancements as quickly as we can. I truly do believe that. So, in my opinion, season 1, although I never say never, of course, Blizzard could take my example of Road 1, where they keep the status quo, and they're going to lose, my opinion, these are my opinions, they're going to lose a certain aspect of the player base just because they're going to be like, no, I'm not reliving this again. I don't care. Chapter rewards, battle passes, I don't care. I'm not doing it, right? They're going to lose them. And you're going to have the players that create content for this game or stream this game. They're going to play it just because it's new, it's a season, and they want to experience the first season. Okay, so they're not going to leave. And yeah, Blizzard can look at that information and say, oh my God, we lost a big chunk, or we didn't lose a big chunk. Okay, and it forces their hand to do something. Now they can choose to do it or not to do it. And yeah, you can try to get people back, but do you really want to be playing that game a month into the launch of Diablo 4? I don't think so. I think this is like a business, and in any business, I always say that it takes a long time to get clients, but it takes a second to lose them. And that principle applies in video games. We have gamers have a short leash, right? If the game they're playing doesn't give them that fix, they move on to the next game, or they'll find something else to hit that fix. So I don't know why any game developer, will want to get into the game of trying to get the players back when you already have them. You just have to keep them. And in my opinion, a couple of tweaks in season 1 will help that. And if they do go down road 2, where they make some changes to adding more end game content and the quality of life improvements, I truly do believe the long-term success of this game is going to be, the sky's the limit. Like, I think all of us want to see this game viable for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Like, the model is there for this game to exist like that. It's there. There's other games that have done it. And I think there's a lot of good in this game, but there's also a lot of improvements that need to be done. So I just wanted to discuss the importance of season 1, at least in my opinion. Like, the grind to 100 is a grind. I have to say, everything that you guys have read and seen, it's true. I lived it. I'm sure a lot of you have lived it too. The 80 to 100, like, I was in my 90s when the patch came out about buffing the nightmare dungeons. I was already in my 90s. Okay. So unfortunately for me, the last half I got to play in the good XP era, where it was an 80% boost in XP. So my last 10 levels, 8, 7 levels, whatever it was the way it should have been since day one. But the reason why I bring this up is because I had a moment probably in my mid 80s when I was 83, 84, where I was like, do I want to keep doing this? I'm grinding dungeons, nightmare dungeons, nightmare dungeons, nightmare. Now, I was doing a combination of nightmare dungeons and hell tides when they were popping up, and of course world bosses. I also have the pleasure of having friends that play this game, so we were grouping up, but yet looking at that XP bar not move as quickly as you wanted it to was very frustrating. So yeah, there was a period, and I won't forget it, where I literally stopped, and I'm like, do I want to keep doing this? So that's me, that has just a little bit more time than the average player. Not a lot, but a little bit more. So can you imagine the player that has 1 or 2 hours and they're logging on and they're grinding, and the XP bar isn't moving? It's like, okay, why am I doing this for? I only have 1 or 2 hours a day, or 2 days, or every other day. I'm not wasting my time. So there was some hurt there, and I almost stopped. But I want to see. I enjoyed my time playing this game, and I'm happy I stuck it out and got to 100. There's a huge sense of accomplishment from that. I love reaching max level on all the games I play, so I'm glad I did it. And now I'm starting my hardcore character to 100, and I want to see if I can get to 100 on my hardcore character. I love playing hardcore, but my point is, players are feeling a lot of pain right now, and the game is lacking on the end game content and the quality of life. I wanted to talk about this because I wanted to get a discussion around, what do you feel season 1 represents? Am I wrong? Is season 1 just that? Just a season? And whether it's successful or not, it's really not going to have an impact on the long-term viability of the Diablo 4? Do you feel like it's already too late? Maybe some of you think that, you know what, some of the player base has already left. They're not coming back. It's Blizzard. We know what they're like, that kind of talk. We're not coming back. Where do you stand on this? I know where I stand, or at least how I'm going to take season's 1 launch and what it has. The way I see it, if they maintain status quo and they just hope that the chapter rewards and the battle pass and you know, adding some, as we've seen in some of the mock-up images of the chapter rewards, there's going to be legendary aspects. If they think that's going to keep a good chunk of the player base, I don't know about that. Again, I've never created a game, so they're the experts, and you know, time will tell. But for me personally, if that's all good they're gonna do, then I take it as if they're just prolonging the inevitable, and that is little by little the player base is going to erode, and they're going to be left with people that just are playing the game because there's nothing else out there, or because they're creating content for it, whatever the reason. But you're always going to maintain a certain player base just because they're enamored with the franchise or the game developer, whatever, right? So my hope really is, I'm really rooting for Diablo 4. I'll be, you know, completely honest. I'm rooting for this game. It's got a hell of a foundation, and there is so much potential in this game. So my hope is that season 1 will see improvements to those 2 areas that I discussed, because I truly do believe, and again, it's just my opinion, that if they don't go down that path, this game is going to just go through ups and downs in popularity, in viewership, in the player base playing the game. It's going to be a rocky road, in my opinion. But if they choose to be aggressive in improving the game every season, every week, every month, then this game has the potential to be very viable long term. Okay, that'll do it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. I really would love to hear your comments. Am I way off? Is it too early to have such a critical moment as I described in a game? Is it too early? Do they have more time? Am I off? I would love to hear your comments, what you think season 1 represents. Is it a critical period in the game, and whether or not it's going to be successful long term? I want to hear your thoughts on how your grind is going and how it's shaping your mindset about playing this game longer. Or I want to hear if you've left the game, why you left the game, and whether you're going to, if there's anything that can be done to get you back. So I'm really looking forward to this live stream on Thursday. We're going to know more about it. Obviously, I will come back and we'll discuss what was talked about on the live stream, because I hope we're going to have some more valuable information on season 1. Like I said, we know it's the middle of July to the end of July, so it'll be nice to hopefully get a firm date on season 1. So with that, I want to thank you. I hope you found this video informative. Please, I would love to hear your comments on what we talked about on this video. Please share your experience, your comments, your thoughts. What maybe I didn't address one of your issues that you're feeling in the game. Would love to hear them in the comments section. As always, thanks for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time.